Welcome back to another edition of the Black Powder Podcast. It is Friday, September 17th, episode number 2. Let's just entitle this one, Gotcha 6. What does that usually mean? Well, terminology stands for someone always having your back. It's important in the firearms world because, at least as a civilian, and once again, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I'm going to mention it now just to make sure. I am by no means a professional. I am still beginning my 2A journey, my firearms journey. Not necessarily beginning it, but I'm a little bit more advanced than I was, let's say, last year. So the information I'm giving you is information that I am gathering and sharing with you, but still, nonetheless, I'm trying to provide good, accurate information in order to keep everyone aware of what they need to do in order to maintain their Second Amendment rights, because those can be taken from you. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So Gotcha 6. Anytime you are legally carrying a weapon, or a firearm in this case, and you discharge it, you have to utilize it to, let's just say, game over someone, or you end up in an altercation, or you end up in a situation to where your firearm gets involved. It is you versus them versus the way that media portrays firearms, which means that you are already at a 90% disadvantage because they are looking at you as the bad guy, or in the case, bad girl. Whatever the case may be. I say that because they being society, modern day society, sees firearms as a negative thing, as a bad thing. Media portrays it as something that all bad people have, and it's harmful to everyone. It doesn't matter if you are a Second Amendment rights supporter, or you're just trying to watch out for your friends, your family, loved ones. They will always portray you and demonize you in modern day society. So having your back means, in this case, you need to have insurance. And no, I'm not talking about another firearm. I'm not talking about if you have a revolver and you shoot all 6 shots or 5 shots, however many rounds you can hold in your revolver. It doesn't mean that you have another revolver, so you have a total of 10 or 12 shots. No. What I'm talking about is actual concealed carry or firearms insurance. There are many different insurance companies out there. I use USCCA. I am not paid by them to mention them. I'm just telling you what I have. But I have USCCA. There's also, I believe it's called US Law Shield. And I'm still trying to do the research on more, but basically there's a wide variety of insurance companies out there that can help you in a situation where if you do have to utilize your firearm, or you do have to discharge it, or whatever the situation may be, they will provide lawyers. They will also fight on your behalf, and they will definitely try and make sure that you maintain your Second Amendment rights after being involved in something. If you do not have any type of insurance whatsoever, you do not have a leg to stand on. You will not have anyone at your back, and it will just be you versus them. Like always, you can probably find a lawyer, but there's no guarantee that that lawyer will have your best interest in mind. You may just have a lawyer that's just going through the motions and trying to do their job, just to make sure they get paid. But whenever it comes to you dealing with the end result, it doesn't matter to them. The lawyers that are provided by these concealed carry insurance companies, they mainly get paid to fight, to maintain your right to bear arms. So definitely make sure you have insurance. If you do not have insurance, the consequences are 10 times worse than, well, I don't even know what to compare it to. It's just bad. Don't do it. What I'm actually trying to highlight is the fact that if you don't have insurance or a carrying permit at all, that's just a no-win situation. That's an automatic game over. Good luck to you in your future endeavors as far as being able to maintain the control of your firearms. But mainly, I like USCCA because not only do they offer their whole entire library of material involving firearms and different types of protection and deals, and they actually have classes as well. They have certified instructors underneath the USCCA brand that will teach many different types of firearm classes, such as rifle classes, basic concealed carry classes, introduction to handgun, handgun 2, rifle 2, so on and so forth. They also have a triage class, first aid class, where if you find yourself in a situation to where you need medical attention, those type of classes will help you be able to apply that not only to yourself but other people as well, should you or they require it. But again, I'm speaking from my personal experience with USCCA. So far, this is my second year. I haven't had any issues. I've actually taken a class with them through Straight Shots LLC, which you can find them on Instagram. And Straight Shots is pretty cool. Great teacher, military background, all around cool guy. So check him out. But again, that's just my experience with USCCA. I haven't had any issues. I like them. They're a little pricey, but you can actually choose your price point. In my opinion, even though they are quote unquote not an official insurance company, they still offer ways for you to get in contact with attorneys that focus mainly on maintaining your firearm and Second Amendment rights, which is always a good thing. So, and they're one of the most popular too, and one of the most well advertised. So that's why so many people know about USCCA. You also have CCW Safe. You have, I think it's called ConcealedCarrySociety.com. I believe Tactical Hyve is another one. Or excuse me, no, this is on the Tactical Hyve website. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and check into it. Now, this website is Tactical Hyve, spelled Hyve. I've seen them on Facebook a few times. They actually do have a couple of classes as well. And just because a insurance company like USCCA offers classes doesn't mean that you can't find classes outside of these insurance companies. Speaking of which, I highly recommend that you continue to train. No matter if you're a novice or you're an expert, you always need to continue to train. So if you can find classes, definitely take advantage of them. If you're a woman, sometimes classes are deeply discounted or sometimes they're free. Even range days are like that. You might have a range day where it's rent 2 lanes for a couple, or it might be, I think in the case of Atlanta Range and Orddanance, I think they have a special day where they just discount ladies' night or something like that. But still, utilize the information that's out there and utilize the benefits that are out there as well. But clicking on Tactical Hyve, they go deep into what concealed carry insurance is and what it does. Their definition is a relatively novel form of liability insurance. Concealed carry insurance emerged and has rapidly grown alongside the rapidly increasing ranks of permitted concealed carriers across the United States. That's probably due to 2020. A lot of people went out and purchased firearms. As I stated in my very first episode, majority of those carriers are now African Americans. They continue. Naturally, these carriers needed some additional legal protection in the event they are forced to use their firearm in self-defense. Thus, the need for new insurance to be created. As you might have guessed, multiple companies either added this coverage to their policies or changed their insurance changed their insurance plans altogether. And some companies were started with CCW insurance in mind, which is concealed carry weapon. To put simply, concealed carry insurance is very similar to other insurance policies, like your automobile, house, or life insurance that you already have. You pay a premium to financially and legally protect yourself in case an event occurs that causes damage. Like Chris Rock says, they need to call it in case this. So, again, Tactical Hyve. It states that you need to have concealed carry insurance. Insurance can vary from as little as $11, possibly $20 and up, and that's a month, to, say, for example, I think with the USCCA is a couple of $100 per year. I look at it like this. Either way, you need to find something that will fit what benefits you and works out to the betterment of you being able to maintain, let's just say, a sound mind whenever you're concealed carrying or you're just carrying your weapon in general. They go into different breakdowns as far as what the benefits are. Say, for example, with the USCCA, you got different options with USCCA. Lowest level is the gold option. Provides some of the, and Tactical Hyve also says that USCCA provides some of the best coverage out there at a reasonable price of $22 a month. This option ensures your criminal and civil trials are covered, bail bond coverage is covered, and even civil damages are covered. Although this shares your civil trial defense fund of $500,000. So they've got you covered on mostly important bases there. Further, USCCA even offers to cover you in the event that you happen to use a legal weapon other than your firearm for defense. Of course, with proper training and preparation, this shouldn't be an issue, but it is nice to know you're covered. I definitely agree with that. That's why I'm pushing this point. Keyword legal weapon. We'll probably go into that a little bit later on in another episode, because the way that the ATF is set up, there's so many different twists and turns and caveats on what an actual quote-unquote legal weapon is. So stay tuned. It'll probably be a little bit later on. We'll figure out what a handgun is classified as now, and that's going to be interesting. Here are the drawbacks. Although USCCA has some of the best coverage around, one of the drawbacks with this concealed carry insurance is that the upfront coverage only applies to the criminal defense cost and bail bond coverage, which actually comes directly out of the same criminal defense fund. Another drawback is the upfront payments only apply to the criminal defense coverage, and your civil defense coverage is a reimbursement. You'll eventually get covered for these amounts. However, it may require some patience on your part. Okay, but it is what it is. It's not like you're trying to go out and discharge your firearm in a public area every single day. I would hope not. If that's you, then this podcast ain't gonna work for you. It's not. And by public area, I'm talking about an area that is deeply populated by civilians. So if that's you and you don't have a concealed carry permit or weapons permit or insurance, well, hey, thanks for listening. Don't even worry about tuning in to episode 3. Unless you decide to turn that around and do it legally, I got nothing else for you. The rest of this podcast is not going to help you. But if that is you and you're trying to do things legally and you have your permit as well as your insurance, cool. Thanks for listening. Keep tuning in. We're going to continue to figure out, like I said in the first episode, how to make African American society, black society, whatever you want to call it, ADOS, diaspora. We're going to try and figure out how to reclaim our image and make it better in the eyes of society, because at the end of the day, we do not own our own media image. We can do better. We are better. And it's time to change that and let things be known whenever it comes to us. But anyway, monthly cost of $22 for USCCA. Criminal defense coverage limit is $100,000. Civil defense coverage limit is $500,000. The bail can be up to $100,000, but the amount is deducted from the criminal defense limit. So criminal defense coverage limit is $100,000. There goes your bail money right there. Lost wages and compensation. Should you end up in prison or jail or wherever, detained basically, you get up to $350 a day, but it's subject to the occurrence limit. Next, they list U.S. and Texas Law Shield. They are an up-and-coming concealed carry insurance provider that you can feel safe with, backing you up in court and beyond. Started in 2009. Let's say the benefits are, well, one of the biggest draws of the U.S. and Texas Law Shield insurance is it is incredibly attractive monthly price of $10.95 a month, which, again, like I said, you gotta purchase your insurance based on what will work out for your lifestyle. They do tack on a one-time fee of $19.95, but that's a startup fee to activate the coverage. It's the lowest monthly base price out of all the concealed carry insurance companies, based on the ones that Tactical Hyve reviewed, but they still manage to provide competitive coverage that includes criminal and civil defense fees up front. Now, here are the drawbacks. The low monthly price does come at a cost, and that is that the U.S. and Texas Law Shield leaves out a lot of supplemental coverage that many of the competitors offer standard. Along with their basic coverage, you're able to select add-on coverages such as gun owner identity theft, multi-state protection, bail bond and expert witness, minor children, and hunter shield coverage. Oh, on multiple state protection, I forgot to mention about USCCA. They do provide a map of reciprocity, which basically means that these are the states you can carry your weapon in. These are the states that honor your concealed carry or your weapons permit, and these are not the states. And then you got the gray area states. So it will provide a map for you in the United States as far as which places you can legally carry and which places will allow your permit. So that's another good thing. And they actually have an app too. It also says that for U.S. and Texas Law Shield, for some, this ability to modify your coverage could be seen as positive, but when we add the most common features found in other policies, which are multi-state protection and bail bond and expert witness coverage, you're looking now at a cost of $18.50 per month. $19.95 is distributed across 12 months for the coverage. So when it comes down to it, the level of coverage you would need to match the competitors could end up being pretty similar to other concealed carry providers in our list. So it's kind of like one of those things where I'm not necessarily saying it's a hidden fee, but you know, you bring in your customers with a low price, and all of a sudden you slowly start to ramp it up depending on what they select. Either way, it starts out low, but it could potentially end up high. Coverage breakdown, monthly costs, as stated, $10.95. One-time startup fee of $19.95. Criminal defense coverage is unlimited, so that's a plus. Civil defense coverage is unlimited. That's another plus. Your bail, however, is not covered. But there is a bail bond and expert witness coverage add-on. Lost wages compensation, you might want to go ahead and buy some ramen noodles and some cans of beans. Yeah, because it's not covered. There's another company called Second Call Defense. Let's say that someone breaks down your home's front door and threatens your family. Well, yeah. You take action and legally put down the intruder with your weapon to save your family. The first call you make is to the police to report the incident. But who do you call after? Second Call Defense wants to be that second call. And that's why they got the name, Second Call Defense. And that is a good point. You always need to call the police if you end up game overing somebody or you discharge your weapon. This isn't the Wild West. You can't be like Clint Eastwood, you know, rolling out with your cowboy hat and your poncho on and, you know, you know, you're shooting some, I don't know, 45s or whatever. You can't do that. You can't do that and not call the police. So that's one thing you have to do. You can't just be like, yeah, you got me on camera, so we're good, right? No, it doesn't work like that. If you played a part, you need to call. If you had any role in anything that happened during any event where a weapon was discharged, as far as utilizing a weapon, you need to call. Even if you are a witness, you need to call. That's just the lay of the land. The benefits of Second Call Defense. Full coverage policy offers to pay all fees up front, which is a welcome relief when faced with the bill that comes due after court cases are completed. Yeah, let's just be honest. Nobody likes bills, And seeing as how firearms are a serious topic, especially now, yeah, it's not going to be a cheap thing. So when that bill comes, it's almost like eating at a very expensive restaurant, only the food's not that great, and you're trying to chaw your way through it. And by the time you get done, you're like, oh, okay, cool. It was food. And then they give you a bill for, God, I don't know, let's just say $10,000. And all you had was 2 bowls of hard bread, no butter, and a $2 steak. Yeah. And that steak was $2, but it was actually $200. Nonetheless. This is a welcome benefit as their monthly price is right at or below the competition, making this a competitive option. Another major benefit of Second Call Defense is that it offers up to $50,000 in civil defense coverage in the event of a civil trial not going your way. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Some of the drawbacks, though. The savings you gain from a lower monthly coverage payment may end up coming around to hurt you when you need it. Most as the full coverage plan's actual coverage is weaker than most of the big concealed carry insurers. Of course, you could always pay an additional $20 a month to supercharge your coverage, but that's a different story. So again, that sounds like one of those little add-on things to where if you need it, you can go ahead and apply for it, but then that adds on to the overall cost. So the breakdown is monthly cost is $14.95. Criminal defense coverage limit is $50,000. Civil defense coverage limit is $500,000. Your bail is $5,000. Your lost wages and compensation is $250 a day. Okay, so now we start to see some differences. There's pros and cons to everything. Then you have CCW Safe. Another great example of putting their money where their title is CCW Safe. Calling themselves a legal defense service plan instead of insurance plan, CCW Safe is committed to helping defend concealed carriers after they've already defended themselves. So, boom, there you go. You're in the mix. The event has happened. You need defense. CCW Safe is there. It looks like they offer great protection for law enforcement and military, both active and retired. And Tactical Hyve is still reviewing the CCW Safe's ultimate plan since it can cover everyday concealed carriers. So it sounds like they have an ultimate plan. Okay. The benefits, probably the best reason to pick up CCW insurance from CCW Safe is because they offer no limits on the amount spent on criminal or civil defense trials. No limit is always a good thing. This is pretty unique. It makes the insurance policy with them one of the best on the market. Okay. Sounds good so far. Although you're practically covered completely, don't let it be the reason you have an itchy trigger finger in the moments of stress or crisis. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about the type of mentality you're supposed to have as you carry. That's going to be a little bit later on, though. Another episode. I got so many episodes playing right now to the point where I hope they keep you interested. I hope they keep you entertained. And I hope they keep you informed. Because the end goal is to see people safely carry and do better. That's all anybody should want to aim for in life, is to be safe and to do better, to be better than you were yesterday. So when you rise today, you'll have a higher goal to look forward to. All right, enough philosophy. Although you're practically covered completely, don't let it be the reason to have an itchy trigger finger. Like I said, CCW Safe simply wants to offer their clients the best protection possible because they believe Americans forced to protect themselves deserve to be protected at all costs. Something we understand completely, which is, boom. There you go. That's almost a mic drop for me. As much as I like USCCA, CCW Safe is speaking to me. I'm just saying. But the drawbacks. Other than being one of the more pricier plans out there, the major drawback to CCW Safe's Ultimate Defender plan is that you must be a permitted CCW carrier in order to be covered. Well, that makes sense. Of course, this doesn't really apply to this comparison as the article is written for legal concealed carriers, but we thought we should mention it nonetheless. I mean, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Why would you have carry insurance if you're not carrying legally? That's like you have car insurance. You purchase a car, you're driving a car, but you do not have the right to drive the car. Now, granted, I know what some of y'all are going to say. You do have the right to travel. I get that. End of the day, all I'm trying to do is make a comparison as far as doing something crazy. It's better yet, here you go. It's like carrying a Odachi katana out in public, which Odachi katana is a very, very long sword. You're carrying it out in public, walking around people, and yes, it's going to draw attention. Yes, it's going to freak people out. But no, you do not have a legal right to carry that. Now, granted, there are some weapon carry permits that will allow you to carry blades over 12 inches, but I still don't recommend going out into public with a giant katana. That just, yeah, leave the cosplay at home. Anyway, monthly cost is $22. Criminal civil defense coverage limit is no limit. Civil defense coverage limit is no limit. Bail is $500,000. Lost wages compensation is up to $300 a day, up to $1,500. So that is definitely not bad. Wow. Okay. All right. I see you, CCW Safe. I see you. You're talking to me. All right. Anyway, professionalism. Last but not least, firearms legal protection. Straight to the point. I think the name says it all. They offer firearms legal protection. Down to the pros and cons. No, I'm kidding. They aren't one of the biggest insurers out there, but they offer good coverage and benefits all at a reasonable monthly price. That is quite attractive to most. We'll be covering firearms legal protection's individual basic plan, but they offer other tiers that offer more at a higher price. It seems like, I guess, like almost any insurance plan out there, there are multiple tiers. You have your introductory tier, your mid tier, and then your premium tier. So it's to be expected. Let's just be honest. Anytime there is something that can be considered beneficial to a company to make sure that they cover those partakers in this activity or this event or this everyday usage of an item, they're going to be insurance companies. Surprised there's not smoking insurance, but anyway. One of the major benefits of firearms legal protections. Sounds almost like Viper alarm system when you say it. Anyway, the individual basic plan is that it is on par with the second call defense, close to industry low of $14.95 a month, while offering uncapped attorney fees for both criminal and civil suits. So all in all, doesn't sound like a bad idea. Okay. $14.95. That's pretty decent. It also allows a covered person to use any legal weapon in their arsenal to defend themselves, so you don't need to worry about being left out if you protect your family with something other than your firearm. So if you use a legal tank, you are good. Drawbacks. Although the individual basic plan offers a lot at the low monthly price, glaringly absent is the bail bond coverage that other plans usually include to some degree in their plans. So, yeah. If you're gonna do it, make sure you got a way to get out. Another drawback is that for the coverage to extend to other states, in addition to a covered person state, one must upgrade to the next insurance. No, that's too much. That's another reason why I like USCCA. Again, they don't pay me to do this, but USCCA gives you a reciprocity map so you can figure out what states are legal to carry in. And then they also give you a list of lawyers in each and every single state. So should you have to go over state lines and you're concealed carrying or you're legally carrying and something happens, something pops off, for lack of a better description, you're covered. So I don't know if I like that one or not. You're only covered in the state that you stay in. Okay. Coverage breakdown, monthly cost $14.95. Criminal defense coverage limit is no limit. Civil defense is no limit. The bail only available in upper tiers, but it goes up to $25,000. Lost wages is $350 a day, but it's subject to the occurrence limit. Okay. So much for Viper Alarm System. And last but not least, you have Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. Sounds like a lawyer company. So this is not a traditional concealed carry insurance provider. Rather, it classifies itself as the funding mechanism for the legal defense, which we'll get into more below, but we wanted to get that out of the way first. So Tactical Hyve is all over this. This is why I like that website. This is why Tactical Hyve is amazing. Although not a traditional form of concealed carry insurance, the ACLDN, Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network, Incorporated, does have some factors that might be appealing. Yeah, if you haven't caught on by now, I do little voices and everything, but nonetheless, this is episode 2. We got a whole lot planned in the future. You'll find out later on. Compromising some big guns from the legal community specializing in legal, self-defense, and firearm arenas, ACLDN has a vast network of experts that will be at your disposal if you're a member facing a self-defense trial after using your firearm. This means that even if they do not provide the strongest or even most comprehensive coverage, you can rest easy knowing you will have the best defending you. So yeah, like I said, their main focus is making sure that you are protected with your Second Amendment rights and can maintain those Second Amendment rights. And that is because the Second Amendment community is a community that focuses on maintaining the rights of every single gun owner out there. So to lose a gun owner is to lose backing. So that means that the 2A community will not have anybody at their 6. You're just out there bare butt hoping that nothing crazy happens. So I get it, and that's a good thing. Another benefit, depending on how you look at it, is that this is by far the cheapest option out there for concealed carry support. There's a school of thought that the money you'd save with this option could be better used for investments or more guns. Yeah, I gotta agree with that. That's a good school of thought. Drawbacks. As mentioned earlier, the ACLDN is not a true concealed carry insurance policy, even though it offers some coverage and support. You will not be covered for any civil damages you might incur during a civil trial and are only given $25,000 more pending approval for your criminal and civil trials each. You're also not going to find another coverage benefits that actual concealed carry insurance providers offers, like loss compensation support or firearm replacement services. So yeah, I did forget to mention that if you happen to, if I remember right, lose your firearm, have it stolen, I think even have it damaged, possibly have it damaged in an altercation or an event where you had to discharge your firearm, they do offer replacement services. Certain coverage will offer replacement service. I cannot talk. Certain coverages will offer replacement services. But here's the general breakdown. It's not bad at all. The annual cost is $135 a year, which is $11.25 a month. You have criminal defense coverage limit of $25,000 immediately and more pending the approval. The civil defense coverage limit is $25,000 as well. And again, more pending approval. That is also immediately. The bail is not covered. Lost wages compensation is not covered. At the end of the day, the main thing that we need to consider is if we have to utilize a firearm, make sure that the reason is good, not because, oh, the music was too loud and I didn't like it, or I didn't like the way they're looking at me. It has to be a definite, hard line to find. I feared for my life. I did not feel safe. Anything along that line. There's even limitations as far as how you can defend your castle. Falls underneath the castle doctrine. Your castle being your home. There are limitations of that. If someone breaks into your house, I don't think it's a good idea to try and, put on your SpongeBob face and be like, I've been waiting for you, and try and chase somebody down with a shotgun. Especially seeing as how if you are, let's say, a family of 4, society expects the man in the house to be the one to defend it. So if you're all gun happy and you go looking for the person that's invaded your house and then you get taken out, who's going to protect your family? You have to do things smart, especially if you don't have a family plan. I highly recommend creating one as far as what to do in the event of a break-in, fires, hurricane, storm, whatever. Ironically enough, it is National Preparedness Month. If you do not have either of those, I highly recommend considering sitting down with your family and plotting out a plan to protect everyone, including yourself. But nonetheless, somebody breaks into your house, there are certain limitations that you have to adhere to. If you have your family in the back room and they break into the back room, by all means, you have to do what you have to do in order to protect your family. But you can't just go Frank Castle your way through the house and take somebody out. There was actually an incident, I have to look it up later on, but there was a woman who shot somebody outside of her house on the sidewalk, didn't call the police, shot them multiple times, and yes, she went to jail. Rightfully so. Initially, if she would have protected herself and her family inside her castle, inside her domain, inside her house, that would have been fine. Especially if she called the police after the incident. However, once you leave your castle gates, once you walk through the door of your house, you are now outside of your domain. You are in public domain now. So anything that happens on the sidewalk, anything that happens on the street, anything that happens even in your own line, it becomes a questionable gray area. And it becomes even worse whenever you do not call the police to let them know, hey, there's an incident. Somebody's bleeding out on my lawn. We may need the paramedics and we may need somebody to take a report. Because at the end of the day, the main thing police are there to do is to take a report after the event happens. That's one thing that most people don't really realize is, yes, the police can possibly de-escalate a situation as far as somebody breaking into your house or somebody who's threatening your life. But at the end of the day, they're not going to arrive like that. By the time they get there, if whatever has happened, there's going to be a report made, and that report will eventually follow up to the arrest and justice being done as far as dealing with that person. But it may take time. So that's one reason why I firmly believe in exercising your Second Amendment rights, because you are your first line of defense. If you have to call somebody to become a line of defense and they're not guaranteed to be there as soon as possible, there's not much you can do at that point. But back on topic. Those are the choices, and I'm pretty sure with the increase of more and more people applying for their carrying permit and more people becoming more involved in the Second Amendment community, there may end up being a lot more companies to choose from in the future. Regardless, those are some of the options you have. I highly recommend checking out Tactical Hyve. That's Tactical Hyve. That's how they spell Hyve, which I think is pretty cool. And look for their article on concealed carry insurance. I also recommend a good Google search. I also just recommend checking with your friends that are heavily involved in firearms or involved in the Second Amendment community. In the case of our black society, as of right now, we have the National African American Gun Association, and I believe they do have links to firearm insurance on there. I was part of the Black Gun Owners in Education group. Still trying to get my membership reinstated. Not that I did anything wrong. It's just, I don't know, the website got kind of weird, and I thought it was a automatic renewal. It didn't automatically renew. So I'm like, hey, I got the card, but what's going on? Because I could not re-log in, but I've got to talk about that later. Still a good group. You can find them on Facebook, Black Gun Owners in Education. They have multiple different sectors as far as where you can join. Like, they just opened up one a while ago in New York, which, you know, New York is extremely strict on gun laws. They have crazy gun laws. California's the same. There's probably other states out there as well that are like that. But nonetheless, just find your source of information in order to make sure, as I've been stating, that you're carrying legally, you're carrying safely, and you're carrying responsibly. I'd also like to give a shout out to OGUNGEAR. That is OGUNGEAR. You can find them on Instagram, and I do believe they have a website at OGUNGEAR.com. If that is not correct, I will provide all those links in the description below. OGUNGEAR is a black-owned 2A gear website, and they also provide gear such as safety glasses, hats. Dude's got t-shirts coming out now. He's actually got a pretty cool Mandalorian t-shirt, which I really want to get one day. He's got the way my bills are set up. He's got gear bags, I think plate carriers, so on and so forth. Really good dude, down to earth. He's been making headway along the gear sales, and really proud of him. And he's also representing me too. Matter of fact, he's actually tried to help get this podcast pushed a little bit. So shout out to you, man. I appreciate it. Hope you keep prospering. Same thing to all y'all listeners too. And I don't know if I get enough people, I got to figure out what to call y'all. Maybe I'll call you the Black Powder Primers or something. I don't know. It's still new. I don't want to make a cheesy name and have everybody be like, I'm a Black Powder Primer. But hey, if it sounds cool, because the primer's got to be the one to ignite the black powder. And without my viewers or my listeners, see where I'm going with this? Anyway, till next time, this has been the Black Powder Podcast. I'm still trying to figure out what my alias will be because I got so many of them. But you know what? We'll get there later on. I'm thinking about Fett because I like Boba Fett. He's pretty cool. Anyway, enough rambling. Y'all got a life to live. Thanks for listening. This is Black Powder Podcast. Till next time, be safe, be vigilant, and be aware.
Retrieving encrypted message.
Send it.